Good afternoon, Professor Bogart. My name is Rachel Dare, and I'm in your Anatomy and Physiology lab. And this is my video of the cat nerves, the brain, and the eyeball. Okay, so starting off with the brachial plexus, it goes from C4 to T1, and it is divided in from interior, I guess, to exterior, or medial to dorsally. Medially to laterally is they're broken into roots. It's called really tired, drink coffee. So roots, trunks, divisions, and and cords. And from those cords come these nerves. So we have the radial nerve underneath. It's this one right here. Can't really see it. Yikes. Okay, that's the radial nerve is right there, and then it that supplies the triceps brachii. It's most posterior. Then this one is broken, but it's the median the median nerve. It supplies the ventral antebrachium, or the forearm. Then we have the ulnar nerve, which is here, and it goes all the way here to the it's the funny bone. The funny bone nerve, when you hit your funny bone, and that also supplies the antebrachium. And then we have the musculocutaneous, which supplies the biceps brachii, the brachialis, and the brachioradialis. And then we have the axillary, which is in here. It's kind of hard to see, and I think I cut it off, but that supplies the armpit and the the shoulder. And then we have the thoracodorsal one, which is under here somewhere too. Then we go to the lumbar plexus, which kind of cut up a little bit, but the lumbar plexus goes from L1 to L4, and the femoral nerve is the main nerve, and it comes from the iliopsoas, and it branches into the saphenous, which runs along with the this artery and vein combo, and then it branches off into there, and then it also branches off into the anterior femoral femoral nerve. Then we have the obturator, which is down here, which I totally butchered, but that's for the adductor muscles. It goes down there. Alright, and then we have the sacral plexus, which is back here, and it goes from L4 to S4. The major one is the sciatic nerve, and it branches off into the common fibular and the tibia nerve. Tibia nerve. So the tibia goes to the posterior lower leg, and the tibia and the common fibular goes to the anterior and medial portions of the lower leg. Then we have the pendundal, which innervates the the peroneus muscles, and then we have the gluteal muscles, the gluteal nerve, which goes back here, which innervates the gluteus muscles and the tensor fasciae lata. Now we go to the brain. We have the exterior. We have I'll do it from the ventral side first, because I cut it open and it will fall apart when I try to turn it over with my own hand. So we'll start with the olfactory bulbs, then the optic chiasma, the optic nerve, and then the optic tract. These are all for the optic nerve, which is number 2, and then these are for the olfactory nerve, which is nerve number 1. Then we have the infundibulum, which connects the hypothalamus to the posterior pituitary. Then we have the this is the arachnoid plexus, all this spider webby stuff. We have underneath here we also have the mammillary bodies, mammillary bodies, the cerebral peduncles, and the ocular motor nerve comes out here, and the ocular motor nerve innervates 4 of the 6 extrinsic eye muscles, and 2 of both of the interior eye muscles. It's one of the main eye movement muscles, a motor muscle, mostly motor. And then we have the pons. You can see. That is a main relay sensory between the cerebrum and the cerebellum, which you'll see when I turn it over. And then we have the medulla oblongata, which has cardiac and respiratory control functions. So we'll turn this over. Good. All right, you can see the meningeal layer with the dura mater and the arachnoid mater, and then the pia mater. Those are the wrappings of the brain. And then we have the frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital lobes. The ridges are called, it's divided into a left and right hemisphere, and the longitudinal fissure separates the two halves, and then the transverse fissure separates the cerebellum from the cerebrum. We have the ridges are called gyri, or a gyrus is one, and then we have sulci, which are you can see there are blood vessels in them, but those are the little grooves. Then so we have the central gyrus, which separates the frontal from the parietal lobes, and the precentral gyrus is the primary motor cortex, and the postcentral gyrus is the primary sensory cortex. So that's a little bit of physiology there for you. Then we have the and we'll open it up because it's really beautiful in here. It's really cool. All right, so we have you can see the arbor vitae, which is the white matter of the cerebellum right here. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then we have the ventricles. Now there are, you can see this ventricle right here, there are 2 lateral ventricles. Then there's, that's connected to the 3rd ventricle, which is connected to the 4th ventricle via the cerebral aqueduct. So those are the ventricles of the brain where cerebrospinal fluid kind of flows through. Then we have gray matter on top and white matter in the middle, and this this right here is the corpus callosum, which connects the 2 hemispheres, the cerebral hemispheres. That's where a lot of communication takes place. And then we have the thalamus, which is the main this is the main relay station. A lot of information comes through here. Then we have the hypothalamus, which is down here. It's kind of hard to see because it's all kind of juicy. But that is the main endocrine place that controls a lot of endocrine function, endocrine hormone release, and stimulation of other endocrine glands. And then we have the the pons, which I think I already said before, but it is pretty important for communication between the cerebrum and the cerebellum. And then the medulla oblongata, and then the spinal cord. All right, and then I think that might be it for the brain. I'm trying to think of something else. So this is the mid-sagittal view, this is the dorsal view, and then the ventral view is on the underside. I'm going to go to the eye. Beautiful eye. Okay, so we have the lens. It's the lens right there. Then we have the outer layer, includes the sclera and the cornea, which is see-through. That's where you see out of. And that's in the fibrous layer. And then there's the The choroid, which is this the black stuff underneath the pretty stuff, is the choroid, which is part of the vascular layer, which is the vascular layer is the second layer, is the middle layer. In the vascular layer is also the iris, which is underneath this. This is called the ciliary body, which is also part of the vascular layer. And then these are the ora serrata, these that are coming up there. The ciliary body has the muscles that control lots of eye movement, like how big and small the iris gets. And then you can see this is attached here by suspensory ligament, which is important for, I guess, suspending it. In front of, and on the underside of the choroid, on the underside of the cornea, is called the anterior chamber. It has anterior vitreous, vitreous humor, aqueous humor. Aqueous humor in the anterior chamber. And back here we have the vitreous humor, which is all the kind of jelly stuff that's back there, and that's in the posterior chamber, which is the major chamber of the eye. Then we have the tapetum lucidum, which is this beautiful, colorful stuff that we have here. And then the retina is here, which is in the inner layer. That's primarily composed of the retina. Retina has two layers, the pigment layer and the neural layer. And then we have back here, you can see the optic nerve very well. Here's the optic nerve. It's really cool. Optic nerve, and it goes through the optic canal, and the optic disc is where it comes into the eye, and that's also called your blind spot because you don't have any photoreceptors there. The cones and rods are in the rest of the retina, but not in that way. Then there's the fovea, which I can't really see very well right now, but the fovea centralis is where the that's where most of the cones are focused, are concentrated, and that's a pretty cool spot in the eye. And then we have, I'm trying to remember if I've forgotten, I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. I believe that is it. I think that's it. Alright. Well, if I forgot anything, I am sorry, but I think this is some of the coolest dissections I've ever done in my life. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a nice afternoon.